The aroma of the holidays is in the air, and it's time to celebrate the joy of the season. I'm Alan Smith. Join me next. Hi, I'm Alan Smith. In today's show, we're going to travel to a place where they take holiday enthusiasm to a whole new level. We're going to visit Asheville, North Carolina, and get a tour of one of the grandest homes in America. Then we're going to check in with a friend of mine, Regina Charbonneau. She's a marvelous chef, and she's going to show us how to create sweet potatoes Natchez style. You won't want to miss that. We'll also visit a place where gardeners are fooling the seasons as they grow colorful snapdragons and over 60 varieties of flowers during the dead of winter. It's hard to believe they're actually filling up 35 acres of greenhouses. And from right here in my potting shed, which is now serving as a holiday workshop, I want to share with you some ideas that hopefully will help you in your seasonal decorating. But first, let's take a tour of the grandest Victorian house in the country. We'll do that when we come back. The holidays aren't taken lightly at the Biltmore estate. Let's take a look at how the season spills into virtually every room of the home. The Victorians not only brought the natural world into their homes in the form of art and decorations, living plants, often exotic ones, were popular in Victorian homes. Even modest homes of the period would often feature plants such as palms, and the wealthy would construct greenhouses so they could raise tropicals from all over the world. Suzanne Tate, landscape and conservatory supervisor, took us on a tour of the conservatory at the Biltmore estate in Asheville, North Carolina, the grandest Victorian house in America. Suzanne, you literally have plants here from all around the world.
That's right. It's a wonderful environment for that.
I'm completely knocked out by all the citrus I see here.
We have quite a collection. We have grapefruits and tangerines and kumquats and even calamundins.
Yeah, they're just amazing. The kumquats are so beautiful, used in Christmas decorations.
They are such an unusual shape.
Yeah. It's so large you can have life-size trees in this place.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It is amazing. And look at all of the orchids and bromeliads.
We like to group them together. Orchids are beautiful when they're in bloom, but the foliage of the bromeliad is so nice.
You know, at the turn of the century, people were so captivated with plants. Plant collecting was a big deal.
That's right. And it's nice to have those collections here in the conservatory today.
Suzanne, how many different species of house plants do you all keep here?
We have hundreds.
I believe it. The variety is amazing. Now, these are some of the Freedom Series poinsettias.
That's right. We're very proud of these. This is Freedom Marble. And we also have Freedom Red that's in the main palm house of the conservatory, and Jingle Bells that you'll see in the hothouse.
I love Jingle Bells. It looks splashed.
It does, and you know, it looks really good in the hot room. I think it goes with those colors that are in there.
Well, even the conservatory gets decorated for Christmas. I love the fresh wreaths on the front door and all the poinsettias throughout.
Well, we do all the work. We grow the poinsettias that belong in the conservatory, and then our crew is the one that makes the wreaths that go on the conservatory too.
It never ends.
Never ends.
So much going on. Thank you so much, Suzanne. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been nice to have you here.
Each year, the pastry chefs at the Biltmore reproduce the entire house in gingerbread. Precise in every detail, it takes 6 people to move this edible sculpture. And it requires about 130 hours of labor and well over 100 pounds of ingredients to create it. When winter rolls around, the colorful flowers in our gardens, well, they tend to disappear. But that's not the case here. See how in every season, color abounds when we come back. Just because it's winter doesn't mean these flowers can't enjoy the warmer weather, right? Here's how these long-stem beauties are fooling the season. If you've ever enjoyed a beautiful bouquet of flowers or seen them in a wedding in the middle of winter, you may have wondered where they came from. Well, unless they were flown in from some foreign country south of the equator, they were probably grown in a greenhouse like this. Here at Pajaro Valley Greenhouses, they've been raising beautiful cut flowers like these for over 35 years. They ship all over the country flowers like roses, gardenias, lisianthus, and lilies, as well as old-fashioned garden favorites like snapdragons. Of course, these snaps aren't exactly the variety we might plant in our own flower borders. These are bred especially for growing out of season in a greenhouse. They have a longer vase life, and as you can see, long stems, which make them ideal for flower arranging. If you take a closer look, you'll see how this wire caging acts as a support to the long stems. This is a reminder for me to try to get an early start on caging many of the plants in my garden. Growers are able to force these into bloom by maintaining spring-like conditions in these houses. Temperatures can range from 58 at night up to about 70 degrees during the day. And artificial light can be added when the days become short. Snapdragons are grown directly from seed, and they're planted in these long rows as plugs. These tiny seedlings you see here are only 3 weeks old. Successive crops are planted each week for a constant supply. Here are some that are a bit older at 2 months, and these are even larger at 3 months. They're about 4 months old when they reach peak bloom, as with this coral-colored variety. These were planted back in the fall. Once harvested, they're taken into the packing facility for sorting, grading, and bundling, and are stored in a nutrient-rich solution before being shipped across the country. I can remember when I was a kid trying to force flowers into bloom during the winter in a small greenhouse I had. Let's just say the results were less than successful. That's one of the reasons I've developed such a healthy respect for people like these here at Pajaro. With 35 acres of greenhouses and over 60 varieties of flowers, I think they've gotten flower production down to a fine science. Coming up, join me in my garden. I have a few surprises I'd like to share with you. I really enjoy this time of year, particularly when it's time to start pulling out all those ornaments from last year and boxes of ribbons and so forth. And as you can see, I've been out in the garden cutting some evergreens for decorating inside. But what about decorating outside? You know, our gardens offer lots of opportunity to celebrate the season. One way I make the garden come alive during the winter is to bring light to it. Luminaries are easy, inexpensive, and an attractive project for families and neighborhoods to take on. To make these simple paper lanterns, start by filling up a lunch-sized paper sack with about 1.5 inches of sand. Then place a votive candle inside by nestling it into the sand. Line the bags along a path or a walkway, and use a long match or a lighter to light the candles. While the effect is beautiful, don't get so caught up in the magic that you forget about safety. Luminaries should not go unattended, and children should be supervised when participating in this project. Another way I bring beauty and life to my winter garden is through classic Christmas lights. During the winter, when the days are shorter and it gets dark so early, there's really not as much going on in the garden. It's quietly asleep, and it gives us gardeners some time to rest. But this is exactly why I like winter, because it allows me to spend some time working on projects that'll put me well ahead for the seasons to come. I use this time for garden cleanup, working on my compost area, feeding the birds who certainly add color on a cold, gray, snowy day, and working on projects in the workshop. And I also use winter to have a little fun. Watch this. Who says gardeners can't have fun decorating their own gardens? With the holidays just around the corner, I decided to transform my fountain garden into a winter wonderland. What a way to see the design of my garden. Its architecture and bare bones can really be appreciated. The tall conical hollies, the outline of the boxwood borders, and the arbors themselves come to life with lights. The festive atmosphere created here is a great way to enhance holiday get-togethers of family and friends. You'd be surprised how many of my guests actually want to brave the cold to come out and take a look at the lights and luminaries. You can achieve this look either on a large or small scale. And in addition to the lights, a few luminaries lining the walk up to your home can add a touch of holiday warmth. You know, another project I like to do around the holidays is create these apple garlands. They're really simple. All you need is a fish stringer like this, and a big bowl of shiny red apples. All you do is pierce the apple with a fish stringer, and you can do it through the center of the apples like this for a garland, or you can hang them on a vertical like I've done over here in the corner, stacking one apple on top of the other, running it through the center of the apple through its core, and then you can see I've accented between the apples with a little evergreen foliage. These are beautiful as swags or indoor ornaments, and once they've outlived their usefulness in the house, I take them outside and hang them in trees for wildlife to enjoy. You know, feeding wildlife, such as birds, becomes very important in the winter. Like each season, winter has many signatures. For me, some of my favorites are the silhouettes of trees against the bright blue sky, the serenity of a snowfall, and of course all of the activities surrounding my bird feeders. It's always so much fun to look out here and see the brightly colored birds against the white snow. This location in my garden has become such a popular place for them to feed, I'm having to fill this feeder 2 or 3 times a day just to keep up with their appetite. I know they're glad to see me because it's hard for them to find plenty of food in late winter and after a snowfall. You see, food isn't as available now as it was in the fall. And do your birds a favor by placing feeders far enough away from hiding places for neighborhood predators such as cats. You know, when it's cold outside, birds just aren't eating for warmth and survival. You might say they're eating for the next generation. They're putting on extra weight for spring, when they'll need all their reserve energies to build nests, lay eggs, and care for baby birds. It's important to remember that once you start feeding birds, you need to continue because they come to depend on you as a source for food, especially in the late winter. You can plant things in your garden that are beautiful and the birds love to eat, like crab apples and dogwoods. And when it comes to shrubs, you might try something like these grape hollies, or barberry, or roses for their beautiful bright hips in the winter. Now that we've seen what the birds are having for dinner, what about a little something for us to enjoy? We'll visit an award-winning chef at Monmouth Plantation in Mississippi for some delicious holiday recipes. There's nothing like a couple of good Southern recipes to get you into the holiday spirit. Let's see what Regina Charbonneau has cooking up in the kitchen at Monmouth Plantation. Regina, thank you for taking the time at this very busy time of year to share some of the recipes that are on that magnificent 19th century menu you've prepared.
Well, thanks. I've chosen a couple of easy things because it is a busy time of year, so we're going to do a couple of recipes from that menu.
Great. What are we going to start with?
Well, we're going to do one of my favorites. It's a kumquat and green tomato relish, and I put it over the tomato aspic, which you know.
Yeah, which is very Victorian.
But it's 4 ingredients, which is our common bond. We love things with 4 ingredients. We have sugar, kumquats, green tomato, and cider vinegar.
Sounds wonderful. Let's see how it all goes together.
Okay, it's really easy. It's the sugar and the kumquats.
How many kumquats go in?
It's a cup of cider vinegar, and then 3 cups of the green tomatoes.
3 cups of the tomatoes, I see. So after you stir it together, then what?
You just put it on the stove and you cook it down for 20 minutes until it reaches the syrupy stage.
Only 20 minutes?
That's all it should take.
Oh, wow. So with the tomato relish underway, what's next?
We're going to do sweet potatoes with bourbon and brown sugar. Another really easy recipe, but it will totally enhance your Christmas dinner.
Sounds wonderful. So what does it take to jump right in the middle of this sweet potato recipe, Regina?
Well, you take 4 cups of cooked sweet potatoes, and you take a cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 pound of butter, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And Alan, the 5th ingredient is behind you, the bourbon.
Oh, okay. Now that's what makes it a real Southern recipe.
That brings you right home to Natchez.
I guess it does. Now, you said a moment ago that you cook these sweet potatoes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you just peel them and cut them in about 2-inch pieces, and you boil them in water until they're soft to the touch or with a fork. And you just put the butter in and brown sugar.
That's good. And
And cinnamon gives it such a nice taste. I love the cinnamon with the bourbon.
And how much
And
the
just
bourbon?
a
I forgot
quarter,
what you
little
said.
quarter cup of the bourbon, and then we're
Quarter
going to
cup.
cook.
Uh-huh.
A little
Okay.
bit more. There you go.
More. Look at that. Wonderful.
And then we're going to put this on the stove and make a syrup to pour over the
Just on a
ends.
medium heat.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Wonder how our relish is coming.
We'll check that out.
Oh, this is looking good.
Oh, good. If you want to stir that and move it over for me,
All right, just over here.
I'll get the sauce for the sweet potatoes going.
Good.
Good.
Now, how many will this serve?
That makes a pint, and all the recipes I gave you serve 8 people.
I see. Great.
And do you want to have a little taste?
Oh, I'd
It's to
love
the
that, yeah.
perfect syrupy stage. Watch out, it might be a little hot.
Try it. That's great.
Now, see what you'll do with that is this goes on the tomato aspic. So I take a silver tray and have the garnish it with bay leaves and put your individual aspics on the tray. And you can either do this in a bowl in the center or go ahead and spoon it over the top.
I see. That would be delicious on a lot of things.
Oh,
The flavors come together beautifully.
It's wonderful with grilled pork chops or pork roast. It's good with venison.
And just 4 ingredients.
That's it. So should we do the sweet potatoes?
Sure.
Do you
Can
want
we
to
get
hand me
them?
the
Yeah.
yams? Our syrup's already ready.
Now, how long will you bake the sweet potatoes? Because they're already cooked.
You just bake that for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get them good and hot to serve with your dinner. How about a taste?
Those are good. Regina, this has been so much fun coming back to Monmouth and cooking with you again.
Oh, I've loved it. You know, as long as you always bring me something from your garden, you always have a place at my table at Monmouth, always.
It's a deal. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I got to try these sweet potatoes
have some
one
more.
time. Hard to beat. The holiday season always seems to bring a touch of magic to the air. Those sweet potatoes that Regina created are so wonderful. Make sure you try that recipe. And if you're looking for other holiday recipes, check out my website. I have a lot to choose from. That's pallensmith.com. From the garden, I'm Alan Smith.
In this garden I dream of a bed of flowers. Bluebirds sing of the beauty all around us. And every time the sun comes out, I can't help but smile. Oh, no, I can't help but smile.